Publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the entire United States. And of course, good morning to the entire world, receiving our signals via the magic of El Internet, that magical system created by we the people, created by you. Anyway, folks, without further ado, let's get moving and get to the geniuses in LS Studio. And what I understand is we have the hero back, El Señor Howard Reynolds and
the hero.
Jacques Van Bever.
Oh,
Yes.
Lord. Even when I'm here, you only have one genius. That would be Jack. Jack knows how to do all this stuff. He's the genius. I'm not. I'm just the guy who looks at it and goes, okay, put a little more glue on that tin can and string.
That's not what Jack told me.
Yeah, well, I pay him well for that. It is Wednesday morning at the radio, the 30th of October, here we go, the 30th of April, 2025. And I was thinking about having a rant this morning, and I think I'll go ahead and do this. I was exercising my favorite sport of arguing with MAGAs on Facebook. And the guy he said something. I said, look, it's now not a matter of left or right. It is a matter of survival.
I am glad you said that.
Well, they always want to go, well, you lefties and you libtards and you blah, blah, blah. Hey, it's not like that. MAGAs, you're getting screwed too. We just happen to know that we're getting screwed and you're just waking up to it. The fact of the matter is, there's no left, there's no right, there's only unite. Because if we don't, and we keep separated, we're going to go into a full fascist government. The jackbooted thugs who kick in doors and arrest people, that could be you next. Do you realize that? Maybe they got the wrong address. Maybe they're dragging you out at 3 o'clock in the morning in your pajamas, or in my case would be a sheet. No, I mean, seriously, this has got to stop. This absolutely has to stop. And it can't stop with, you're just a righty, you're just a MAGA, you're a brainless idiot because you voted wrong. Well, we got to stop that, people. We got to stop it, and we got to stop it today. Because there's no left, there's no right. This is what we unite. So there's more of us than there are of them. So that's what you got to think about. And that's my rant for today. And Jack has a full page of wisdom, so probably wiser than what I've just said.
Brother Jack.
What you said, Howard, was right on. I mean, really, because as Egberto has said, that we need to provide a soft landing for MAGAs, the disgruntled MAGAs that figure it out and decide that the progressives have the policies they want. We need to not, talk bad about them, but just accept them, as, part of the party. Okay, here's your headlines regurgitated by Jack.
I love it.
All right.
No.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker channeled Bernie Sanders and AOC and unabashedly progressive speech that MAGA and progressives should love. Welcome disgruntled MAGAs to the Progressive Party. Amazon won't display tariffs cost after Trump whines to Bezos. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says all companies should be displaying how much the tariffs contribute to the total price of products. And the last one, Medicare For All is the standard that would show the people that the government is listening to the people. Stop the institutional exploitation of the healthcare client patient by eliminating the healthcare profiteers like Medicare take advantage of you insurance companies.
And
Yes.
there,
And welcome, MAGA.
yeah, like I said, you've got to stop this left and right thing because see, that keeps us the propaganda that they put out that keeps us separated. That keeps us powerless. The left is powerless to do anything because there's just not enough people there. The right is just they're lost. But you got to give them a light and say, "Hey, look, you're getting screwed too." I mean, what about the farmers who are losing their farms? They're getting screwed. So we're all getting screwed and we're all tired of it. So it's time to unite and fight. So there you
Yeah.
have it.
Well, I agree 100%. Before I get started, I want to welcome in the chat so far Joanne from Los Angeles, California. We also have Lisa Blair from Atlanta, Georgia. And in Substack, we have a bunch already. We have Mark, Lorraine, Jay Gammon, Susan, Mary, Foley, Paulette, Ben, Brandon, Deb, McKeefish, Linda, Atomic, March KJ, Joanne Sarsiski. Thank you guys for being here. And as more come, I'll say hello. Good morning, March. How are you doing this morning? And you know what? I'm going to start with the urge that I mean not the- with the urge with what Howard just urged, and it is true. And also when Jack said, "Let's remember, give everybody a place to land." And because I'm always talking here and here, I also like to talk about my own deficiencies and overcoming the deficiencies. There are a lot of people that are always out there telling you what to do and why you're wrong, as if you know they could never be wrong or they could never be that person. I come back because we get new people listening every day. A lot of times I like to give my mea culpa over and over again just to show that yes, change can happen. And like I said, I'm from Central America and I had some of I call them diseases that a lot of us have. El machismo, or had, I don't have it anymore, had. El machismo, sexism, homophobia, very, very strong in a part of the world where I'm from. That's how I was reared. And not till I came here to the United States and became a part of a crowd that believed in inclusivity, believed I love to say believe in love actually, to be able to love everybody, right? Uh, was I able to look in the mirror and change? One of the hardest things to do is to change something that you were born with, reared with. That goes with everything: homophobia, sexism, racism, everything. But the thing about it is, human beings have the ability to change. And every time I look in the mirror, I see that human being that changed from a person that wasn't a good person to somebody who intentionally did the work, did the work on self to become a good person. We are a result of how we were reared. One of the reasons I tell people all of the times, I don't have enemies. If I would tell folks, I've got sexist friends, I've got homophobic friends, I've got racist friends, I've got all of these. And when I said, people are like, well, why do you stick with them? Because there were times when I other people had me as friends, people that were better than I am, in that they didn't have the hangups that I had, and they didn't throw me to the curb. They worked with me and they showed me the way, and they gave me a place to land. They gave me a place to atone. They gave me a place to redeem myself. Not looking for a pat on the back, because having the diseases that I had was horrendous, right? And changing that took an effort, and that is what we ought to do as a country. And individually, all of us individually, when we look in the mirror, until we change the parts that need to be changed about that individual that we are looking at in the mirror, until we make that change, guys like Trump, guys like the plutocracy, guys like the oligarch that run the oligarchy, they will always be able to take all your deficiencies and mix it with the deficiencies of others to control you, to harm you, and to make sure that they get themselves into a particular position. Many of you out there know, I go back to the election. Many of you already knew who Donald Trump was. And because of the way many of us were reared, many of you were reared, you were able to put all the bad things, all the negative things about this guy, all the things that you know this guy would do wrong. You were able to self justify that. And he knows that, and the people that pushes him know that, and they went ahead and they take every every one of your deficiencies they used against you to justify electing that guy. And until we as a people, as individuals, I should say, decide that we are not going to allow these folks to use our own diseases, our own prejudices to affect voting in the best interest of ourselves and voting in the best interest of the country, none of that is going to change. Our economic system, an unfair economic system that isn't based on merit. We've always tried, we've constantly over the last several decades using programs like, yes, DEI to attain MEI, meaning diversity, equity, and inclusion, so that we can actually get a meritorious excellence and intelligence in positions where they should be. We've tried to get there, but our economic system is not a meritocracy. That's why those with the most, and name me anybody wants to call us right now, and I can show that those with the most rarely have worked as hard as many of you out there who are listening to me in the car, going to your job, and making America America. Most of the people, this system was designed to have people invited in. I repeat, invited in to become the chosen ones. And look, I'm speaking from a position of somebody who had a successful software company, gave it up for activism. Maybe I'm a fool, I don't know. But I can tell you there are certain limits that this system puts on you. And I can go through the iterations of forming a company from scratch, and a comparison between one who formed it on credit card debt versus one who had been invited by the types of loans they were able to get. I lived it, and I'm saying, and this just simply goes by, you have to be invited to be one of the big guys. Yes, you could be an engineer making a couple of $100,000 a year. Yes, you could be a doctor making a $500,000 a year. Yes, you could be a lawyer making XYZ. But let me tell you a few dirty little secrets that many folks don't know. There are more trained lawyers out there starving than there are I use that word starving, you know what I mean. Then there are lawyers that have these reputable jobs that you think about when you think about lawyers. There are a lot of folks in many fields, many professional fields, that are doing something completely different than what they were doing because, again, the system is dependent on one being invited. And when we learn that, and when we change our being, that is when it starts. I have a lot to talk about Amazon, have a lot to talk about Medicare for All, etc. But I see that there are already three calls, and I want to kind of take care of our beautiful people first, and then we'll go into that. Welcome aboard, Glenn Ryan in the chat. He says, "Is voting for single payer in the interest of the people?" Brother Glenn, you know the answer about that. The answer is an absolute yes. John A., welcome. Lily Santo, Farmers Against Stumfer. Tim McCurry, me, LBW, Gracie, Daniel Shepard, Judith K. Lana Foley says, using their gift to help the less fortunate get ahead versus the fortunate to take advantage. Julia Atkins just joined. Let's go to Jimmy. Good morning, my brother Jimmy. Talk to me.
Good morning, Alberto. There was a wonderful program on Channel 8 last night, all about our libraries. Andrew Carnegie, the richest man in the world from his wealth from the steel industry, donated a lot of money to start libraries all across the country, and that really helped with the education of our people. For a while, the libraries were segregated. Black people couldn't even go to libraries, but all that has changed. And of course, sometimes we have problems with books being censored, and some librarians wouldn't censor the books, and they would go to jail. So they had a lot of crazy things going on there. But Andrew Carnegie started the libraries, and currently libraries don't collect fines anymore. They know that people who have fines don't come to the library, so they want people to come and use the library, so they no longer have fines on books. But I highly recommend programs on Channel 8. Like Wednesday night has Nature and Nova, and sometimes Frontline. These are awesome educational programs, and that also shows what wealthy people can do with their money donated to a good cause, like Houston Public Media or KPFT. Incidentally, I wonder if KPFT might start asking for used cars. That's what the other stations do that, and that might be a good way to raise some money for
Yeah,
KPFT.
KPFT does do the used car. Yeah, KPFT does, and thanks for bringing that up. Let me just tell everybody, if you have a used car, as you know, a lot of times you take that used car out and they only have salvage value, etc. A great way to donate to KPFT is to, if you have a car that you're not going to use, old car. My one of my cars, when I was getting rid of it, I went ahead and just threw it to KPFT's way. So it's a good way to support KPFT if you have a used car that you're going to get rid of, and somebody else finance a good price for you in a new car or another used car, just give that car to KPFT. We can make good use of getting funds for that car. So thank you for bringing that up, Jimmy.
One more thing. Last night, ABC had a White House correspondent Terry Moran interview
Hmm.
President Trump on his 100th day
Hmm.
in the White House, and of course, Trump wants to blame Biden for everything. But
Amazing, amazing, Jimmy. Yeah, I mean, I see that, and a lot of that. What gets me is a lot of the reporters, as they're interviewing him, they allow him to say these things, and these things then become a part of the psyche of many people believing that. And rarely do you find that the reporters push back as they should. So and that's how I found that interview. Anybody who interviews Donald Trump, unless you're gonna push back on every point he makes, you're giving him a platform to build his line story to the rest of us. But what can I say? We have a
one more
deleterious.
thing, Trump does not
Yes.
want people to know how much the tariffs are costing us. There was a rumor, I guess, that Amazon was going to start displaying the
Yeah.
cost of tariffs on their goods, and Trump jumped on them about that. But
Yeah.
Apparently, really don't have those
Yeah,
limbs.
they back down. I mean, Amazon backed down. But Jimmy, thank you very much as usual for calling. Thank you as usual for being a great supporter of Politics Done Right and KPFT, brother. All right.
Keep up the good work,
Thank you,
Alberto.
brother. Thank you. Now, I want to add a corollary to something that Brother Jimmy just said. Jimmy said Carnegie donated a lot of money to libraries and to good causes, which is absolutely true. And we want to thank them for giving back some of that of their fortune to these libraries, etc. But I want to put a little curb onto that, however, right? Because after you've amassed a certain amount of money, the best way to get goodwill, etc., is to do what again? Do these good things. But I always use a particular analogy, and I swear to you, this isn't sour grapes. You know what I think about the economic system? You know that I don't believe anybody, not I don't believe, it is a fact that nobody has the ability, based on the current value of the dollar, to raise $1 billion unless it comes on the back of many, many others. From a mathematical standpoint, you as a one person do not have the ability to raise $1 billion for yourself, let alone in Musk's case, 300 something $1 billion. So that's where I want to start. So I always use the analogy as follows. If I go ahead and steal $1,000 from you, and that $1,000 cause you pain, and you are starving, you don't know that I stole that $1,000 from you, and I see you suffering in pain, and I give you $100 to buy some groceries to last you a few days. You fall in love with me as being a rich guy who supported you and bought stuff from you, bought stuff for you. But then again, am I really a good person if the way I got rich was first stealing the stuff from you and then just giving you back a piece of the action? That's how I view most philanthropists, right? They got their monies either inherited or they got their money on the backs of others, and we can go through the machinations of how that was done. And then they have a beautiful face when they create the libraries, create the Ford Center, and all these other things. But the real question is, how did they come about it? And what I'm trying to do with our program here is not about bashing billionaires, because, first of all, there should be no billionaires, because a one person with their work and worth cannot really accumulate $1 billion unless it was done on the back of the masses. And that is where I'm trying to get people to refocus how things came about. All right, let's go to Lester. Come on in, Lester. And before Lester, Glenn Ryan, welcome aboard. Jacqueline Camfisi from Katy, Texas, welcome. Glenn as well from Katy, and Alice Aaron Dreams from Summerwood, Texas. Thank you so kindly for being here. Uju M says Carnegie was a robber baron. Two things can be true. He did more good after he robbed the American people. Uju M, you get it. Thank you, my brother. Let's go to Lester. Come on in, Lester.
Yeah, I'm all right, and I know you're all right. So guess what, Alberto? I ain't gonna ask you for the 55th time. How you doing? I'm not gonna ask you that. Hey man, the reason I
Hey,
like you,
I like the way you always start that, man. Go ahead, brother. Talk to me, Lester.
yeah, man. Hey, the reason I like you, man, because you know when you got callers on hold, you don't keep on talking. You get to your damn callers. I really appreciate that, man. I ain't gonna be long-winded, man, but me, if I was a billionaire, I'd be just like Robin Hood. If I was a billionaire and I stole from the rich to help the poor, that's what I would do, man. I mean,
I hear that
uh,
I hear that in your voice, right? I hear that in
right.
the things that you don't say. And you know what? Also, I had let me tell you something, Lester. It's funny because somebody, I don't remember if it's on the 3 o'clock show or if it's somebody I was speaking to, but I told them just that. I said, you know what? Most people are, everybody talk about greed is good and capitalism is based on greed being good. And I always said, most people are not greedy. If most people were greedy, the greedy could not exist because everybody would be
Right.
taken away from the other. Most people are good. Continue, Brother Lister.
Right. I'm just the kind of guy, man. I got that kind of heart because, but for the grace of God, I'd be living on the street. I'd be on every red light, at every red light, and it really get on my nerve. Every red light I go to, you got somebody out there begging, man. So I mean, this is America. America shouldn't be like that. But I'm gonna say this, and I'm through, man. Hold on, I'm coming. Sam and Dave made that song back in 68 or
Hmm.
69. Hold on, I'm coming, and that's the way I think about Donald Trump. Yeah, it's gonna be a rough road for a minute, but I still believe we have to trust the process, man. It may not come when we want to, but it's gonna be on time. And I just don't see Donald Trump as being this bad guy, man. He just want to make America great again for
Hmm.
America. I'm not talking about for black folks who used to get murdered by the police. I ain't talking about that America, but America has been getting chunked, man. But that's all I got, man.
Okay, Lester, before you go though, Lester, before you go, let me just tell you this. First of all, I don't believe about Donald Trump what you just said, and it is and like Jack and Howard pointed out other earlier on, it is our job not to disparage you because of your belief, but to prove our
Right.
point in such a manner that eventually you can say, someday you may come back in here and say, Egberto, I didn't see it, but just like I spoke about, I didn't see things before because of how I was reared, but I see it now and I had the ability to look in the mirror and change. I am hoping that
Right.
treating folks like you respectfully and having you come in to listen to us every day, that at some point you may say, Egberto, some of what you say I can see. Just like I can see that you're a good person. Let me tell you, I have relatives that are MAGA, brother. Okay? And I love them to
We
death. And we
do.
continue to have the
We
conversation. All right? So we'll talk some other
trust
time, brother.
God. Trust God.
Let's
Thank
try.
you, brother. Thank
I
you.
got to go,
Trust God.
brother. All right. Peace on. Let's go to Donald. Come on in, Donald.
Good morning, Alberto. Silence Do-Gooder 300 years ago, Mrs. Silence Do-Gooder had a lot to say about the points in higher learning education. So we need to revisit his teachings. That's why he's on the $100 bill. Second of all, sometimes I feel like you go towards the elite like you're going to drink the bathwater. Those higher education places have more money than you even know about, and we still fund them. Yet they steal intellectual property from the people that work at the colleges and universities. They sell it to the drug manufacturing people. Then they manufacture the drug somewhere else and import it back in, and it's the whole system is wrecked. And we need to
Wow.
do. Now Carnegie built his own company, and then he was like horrible because he was a robber baron, and it was a monopoly and all this. But how are we doing any better? Japanese companies
Donald,
and everybody else
I
own
want
our
I want
damn
to give you
schools
kudos.
now.
I want to give you kudos, Donald. I want to give you kudos because you named the issue, the very important issue at universities. Remember how I start my program all the time. I tell folks, remember, you, the people, we, the people, are the one who created things. We, the people, are the ones who give a lot of money to these universities, create products, and that when those products look viable, they then sell it to corporations who patent them, who get the patent from them and overcharge us for things like medicine, etc. You nailed it. But that isn't the actual issue with Harvard and the other universities. But you're absolutely right. And I'm glad that somebody like you came right out and said it. As far as the patent system, I wrote my book. As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right wing doom. I specifically pointed out that particular issue that universities do. Again, they develop the stuff with public dollars, and then private companies buy it and they get a building and somebody get a big cash flow, and then we pay overprice for the drugs. Thank you for noting that, brother.
Okay, the next thing is Amazon will never put the true cost of an item manufactured or built in China and sold to the American public, because then you would actually see the markup and the rape of the American people, and that it costs $3.
Oh,
Now it's only going to cost $6. And you know what?
whoa, whoa! You are a genius. Oh my
That's
God!
all.
You wait! Nope, nope. You're not leaving yet. You are a genius. Let me tell you something. Yesterday I said just that. If for them to put the tariff, the VAT, and believe me, that is the one thing I didn't hear on the news yesterday, Donald. You are a genius. You are insightful, man. Nobody said that on the news yesterday. Why ever I even said that Amazon cave, but yesterday I was speaking to a guy and I said I don't even know why Amazon was going to do that, because you can backtrack what the original price is from China if you tell them what the tariff is, and then America will see the actual markup that Amazon is making. You can backtrack. So they had to make a calculated decision that most Americans will not do the math that you just spoke about. But you are exactly right. You can backtrack and say, wait a minute, you mean all along I've been paying for this bowl $7 when the original bowl only costed 50 cents? You're a genius, Donald. Thank you for putting that out. All right.
Have a good one. Yes, sir. Bye
You
bye.
take care, buddy. All right. Let's go to, I think it's Bruce next. Come on in, Bruce.
Good morning, Alberto. How are you?
I am doing fine. Bruce, talk to me.
Yeah, I sit out here on the back porch when I listen to you guys in the morning. I put a water dish out because a neighbor's cat jumps a fence and comes over to visit with me while I'm
Nice.
talking on the radio. And then he goes and gets a little drink of water and takes off hunting. Anyway, this morning he hopped the fence, then he turned around and ran back. I went, well, what's up? And I looked up, squinted my eyes, and I seen a possum coming up
Oh,
towards the water dish. So I did my normal thing. I waved my arms and hissed and stomped my foot. And normally they run off, but he didn't. He was going to get a drink of water, and that's all there was to it. I got a plastic canister that was empty. Used to have Amdro in it for ants, and I tossed it and bounced it off his back. He ignored it. He was going to get that drink of water. All right. So that possum is a MAGA. The MAGA is going to drink the Kool-Aid, and we can wave. Some of them, doesn't matter how much you wave, warn them, try to tell them what's going on. They want that Trump Kool-Aid, and that's all there is to it. The reason, though, I called is I want to tell you, I know what Pope Francis would say about this big a dude about picking his successor.
let me hear it. Bruce, are you
He'd
there?
say nothing. He's dead. Yeah, he'd say nothing. He's dead.
Yeah. Oh, oh boy. Oh my
Really?
God. Bruce,
Really?
you're a bad person, Bruce. You have a wonderful day, my dear
Sorry.
brother.
You too, brother. Bye-bye.
All right. All right. I think Steve is next. Come on in, Steve. Brother Steve, you're
Hey,
on.
good morning, Roberto. Good
Good morning,
morning. Can you
sir.
hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Good morning, brothers and sisters, hermanos and hermanas. It's a light and at least making me smile this morning with the callers. Um,
Yeah, we have
uh,
great callers.
yes, what Howard said earlier, I think, yeah, we need to get back to the United, but I'm thinking that our USA stands for something different now. I think it's more UMA now. And I guess I'll go back to a little bit of history. Rome got through its ugly times with Nero and Caligula. Germany went through its ugly times with Hitler. Russia, of course, had the ugly Stalin times, and now the ugly Putin times. So I'm thinking that right now, unfortunately, since we allowed the power to go to certain people, we're the UMA, we're the ugly, musky America. That's due to the power that we have given over.
And the thing about it is, the thing that hurts the most, Steve, is that the first time we did it, people can say, we were snowed. The second time we did it, it's like, okay, we do have a problem. We do have a problem in the United States, and it's going to take a lot to repair this damage. It's probably going to take a whole generation to repair this damage. I can't disagree with what you just said at all. You're absolutely
Yeah,
right. And it
you turn
and
on
it
their best friend. You've got a best friend for like hundreds of years in Canada, and you turn on them, right?
it's crazy. How do you ever turn on Canada and Mexico? You don't. And not only that, the funny thing about it, Steve, is that the trade agreement that we had between China, I mean, I'm sorry, between Canada, Mexico, and the United States, the UCMA, UMCA, I think is what it's called. It's a treaty that was negotiated by whom again? Donald Trump. Think about it. I mean, think about it. These guys are so bad for abiding by the treaty that America signed with them. But again, there's something that has always been throughout our history, Steve, and you can look this up, but we have never, ever, as Americans, we have never honored the treaties we've signed. We want others to honor it, but whenever it's no longer convenient or whenever we decide we want to change, we create a reason to get away from the treaty. But anything else, Steve, before I move on, because my phones are completely full. I am not going to get to my subjects today, but I'm going to try for the last 5 minutes to do it. My God, I love you all, man. But thank you, Steve. Have a good one.
Like
All right.
you,
I
like
think,
Donald said, we pulled back the curtain.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go to, I think, maybe Johnny and then Patrick. Come on in, Johnny, and then Patrick. Uh, Johnny, let's see. We'll get it together in a minute, my dear. There you go. Johnny, you're on.
I heard it. So tell Bruce to be careful now. That possum could have been rabid. Luckily, he was far enough away where the possum was thirsty enough and or rabid enough to ignore that can. They can turn on you, even possums can. So I regained consciousness this morning at about the bottom of the
Hey,
hour.
hold on a second. Hold on a second, Johnny. Somebody on Substack wants to know the call-in number. Substack, the call-in number is 713-526-5738. One more time, 713-526-5738. All right, continue, Johnny.
526-5738. Don't forget the last four numbers. They're important.
Okay.
So, and where you forget? Oh, the rabbit animals. Watch out for them. And the gentleman, I was waking up when I heard at the bottom of the hour a familiar friend who keeps talking Donald Trump's praises all the time. All right?
Yeah.
And I think you
Yes.
addressed it pretty well. But I wanted to clarify something I said to you yesterday. I think I misspoke. I gave you the wrong impression. When I was talking about we need to make young people aware, those who are headed to the Ivy Leagues, who decide they want to attend an Ivy League and get accepted, that they should be armed with this knowledge that we brought up yesterday so that they would put in check anyone who comes across from the university as a snob, whether they be an instructor, a professor, or especially someone in the administration. As we see right now, lots of administrators at various Ivy Leagues have caved,
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah. Have caved, yes.
Columbia University. So academic freedom goes hand in hand with boldness and resolve. You can't have one without the other. That's
I
all
agree.
I was trying to say. I wasn't saying boo on academia or for-profit colleges.
No, I corrected. You made the. I mean, I understand what you mean now, but yeah, I thought the reason I said what I said is, I again, well, you know where I come, how I approach these issues, but corrected. I understand what you meant now.
And we both know that Donald Trump is all in favor of shutting down education, period. It doesn't matter whether they're Ivy Leagues or they're public schools. He wants them all privatized to the point where we're like in Malawi, is it?
Yes.
Lawrence O'Donnell, MSNBC, he raised money for desks. Like that country, that's what he wants. He wants everything paid for. And that's all I've got to say. And Bruce, I like your sense of humor, by the way.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, let's go to, I think, Patrick and then Augie. Come on in, Patrick. Okay, we're going to have Patrick in a little bit. Sorry about that, my dear brothers and sisters. Every now and then we have these little machinations with the phone system. Go ahead, Patrick.
Morning.
Morning,
Good
sir.
morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Talk to me, my dear brother.
I wanted to help out Brian on a couple of things. A couple of weeks ago, I think that he and Mr. Reynolds didn't see eye to eye over Mr. Mangione. I
Uh
think
huh.
there was a discussion about donating to his legal
Mm-hmm.
team.
Yes.
I the party that Brian likes and the neoliberals that Brian sticks up for decided that money was speech and that we have freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, it's allowed. Second off, this is supposed to be a country where you're innocent until proven guilty, and that is not
Mm-hmm.
something that Mr. Mangione has been given. The President of the United States has called for his death before the trial even started. Last time that president did that, he asked for, I think it was 5 people to be killed, and
Yes.
they were completely innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if we're not going to give somebody the fair trial, and somebody is putting their finger on one end of the scale, I think that it should be within our right and almost expected to try and push back. If he's not going to get a fair trial from the prosecution side, the defense side should have some help. I donated
I
to him.
look. Let me tell you something. All right. Anybody, a lot of answers that I give can be broken down into one thing. But Trump is president, and the reason I usually say it like that is everything that people have done that's bad, this guy has done. He has stolen. He has, according to a judge, he has raped. He has bankrupted. He has accused that you just mentioned the 5 people. I think you meant from the something 5 that he wanted executed that turned out to be innocent. 5 black men in New York, in the New York Central Park 5, I think is what they were called. So I mean, you name it. The only thing that we don't have this guy on is direct killing. And notice what I said. The only thing we don't have him on is direct killing. Now, indirect killing, that's another story. But anyhow, anything else, Patrick, before I go on? I'm running out of time.
Well, the indirect killing is what we have the United Healthcare CEO on.
There you go.
The other thing I was going to help Brian out. The other thing I was going to help Brian out on was oligarchy. He said that it's not defined by wealth, but Aristotle wrote the book Politics, and that was over the struggle between the commons and the oligarchy, where he defined them as a social class, typically wealthy, that use government for selfish reasons, and it's at the end means to an end to the government itself.
Thank you for
So
thank you for that, and thank you for that. The one thing that I never studied is all the things about Aristotle and all these other Greek gods and Greek people, folks. I'm very deficient there, so I learn a lot when you guys talk about that. So thank you so kindly for your talk, for your call, Patrick. And we're going to move on to Augie, and then after Augie, we go to Yuzu. Come on in, Augie.
Good morning. Yeah, when you're talking about the libraries, I thought about when I moved to Katy, there was a Y being built, and they're going to put Ken Lay's name on it until it came out on the news how Ken Lay and Enron cheated all its customers. And he was going to go to trial, so then they decided not to put his name on it. And he got his money from cheating the customers. And also, yeah, Trump did kill a lot of people during COVID, and in fact, many more of his followers who drank the juice. They drank the bleach and the veterinary medicine, and then they didn't take the COVID shots. And their last words before they died was, "Take the COVID shots."
Yeah.
But then, what gives me hope is the last couple of elections, some of his supporters that voted for him the first time started to change their mind. And I guess part of the reason is some of them that I talked to, not in an angry manner, but just trying to inform them. And eventually one of them said that after the second election, if she voted for him, and she said, well, I saw the light.
Yeah,
So
and
let's hope.
a lot of people are seeing the light. The problem is a lot of people who saw the light, instead of coming out and voting, they just stayed home. And then a lot of, I always talk, we talk a big game about progressives and how we are. A lot of progressives also didn't come out and vote because, again, they themselves have their own prejudices as well. So we have to be honest about all these different things at the same time and not just, many people just want to demonize MAGA of being these very evil people, and progressives are the good ones. My brother, there's a stuff my wife used to say, and I used to chuckle, but she's right. People are people, and it's all about how you're reared. It's also all about what you allow to infect your mind. So, anyhow, hey, I got to go to Uzu, Augie. Thank you so kindly for calling. Thank you for being a great supporter, my brother. All right, um, let's
Bye-bye.
let's go to Yuzu. Yuzu, come on in. Did I say that correctly?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, did I say your name correctly? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's Uju. Yeah, I always chuckle whenever you say my brother. I'm a girl.
I didn't know. I didn't know. Forgive me, please. All right,
It's
sister.
okay. It's okay. Listen, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I'm not. It's not. It's really not a big deal. So, but yes, thank you for taking the opportunity. I wanted to, call obviously to correct and confirm that I am a girl, but I also wanted to give people a little bit of a history. I'm Nigerian. My family migrated here in '96, and I remember when we got here, my mom used to always tell us, America is the land of opportunity. Just work very hard, put your head down, and you'll make it to the mountaintop. She never said those words exactly, but earlier on, I realized that coming from Nigeria where the corruption is really in your face, I realized that in America, it was really behind closed doors, right? So before you realize that things were going south, like the 2008 financial crisis, you were robbed of everything. So case in point, growing up in New York City, my dad passed away, but my mom, 6 kids, she literally worked 20 hours out of a 24-hour day to put food on. What?
Uzu? Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'm driving. She didn't qualify for school lunch because they said that she was too wealthy. But my mom is working 20 hours out of a 24-hour day. So that's when I realized. I said, "Wow, there's really no mountaintop. Doesn't matter how hard you work. The system is designed. It's working the way it's designed, right?" And I think
Yeah.
what this Khan and Felon did as a New Yorker, we saw what he was all about, and it's just sad because for so long, people like my family were realizing the system was set up to not really achieve the true American dream, and they needed something. They needed someone to say it out loud, and the Democrats, just did not provide that vision, and still don't. Till this day, like I'm still waiting for anybody. And listen, Chris Murphy is great, Cory Booker, what they're doing is great, but I'm still waiting for someone to literally outline the vision of what someone in America can look forward to when they wake up in the morning. A nice practice I usually like to tell everyone is close your eyes and really just imagine if you had everything you needed to live. I'm not talking about excess. I'm not talking about being able to afford 3 houses, but most people genuinely just want to wake up, okay, afford basic necessities, housing, food, shelter, healthcare, go on maybe two or three modest vacations a year with their family and have a little bit of savings just to live out in their good old lives. And unfortunately, a lot of Americans don't have that, never truly had that. And that's the sad part because we do live in the richest country in the world and we have way more homeless people here than in Nigeria, and it's really sad. So that's what I just wanted to say. Like, I know things are hard right now, things are bleak, but everybody just has to remember, close your eyes and imagine what it is that you want from the dream that was promised to a lot of people who are naturalized citizens or born here. You were promised this dream, but unfortunately you've been lied to for so long. And we, as the people, have to start saying enough is enough. You know, this trickle-down economy is not going to work. Enough is enough. We have to design better because we cannot keep on doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like this tariff McKinley tactic did not work then, led to the Great Depression, and what makes us think it's going to work now? You know, so that's all I wanted to say.
Let me tell you,
you know,
Uju.
we are the people.
Uju, you made my day. You have made my day because coming from a caller to give that narration, and not only from a caller, from somebody whose parents, like my parents, when I came to America and I went to the University of Texas and I saw the light and I became an activist from the time I was at university at 19 years old. And my father came and visited me and saw me in one of my protests and all of that. And he said, I sent you here to get educated and land of
Right,
opportunity. All of that, my
right,
dad said. He was upset at me
right,
for actually having seen the system. And you as well, like myself, a first generation American, right, and saw the light and said we are going to make America be what it told all of us it's going to be. Yes, there are too many
right.
people that have bought the Kool-Aid. We are here to say it's not really Kool-Aid. It is really the poison that Jim Jones gave the people back in Jonestown in Guyana. Thank you so kindly
Right,
for your calls.
and really quick, I want to mention two more things. Like you said, you talked about America has never honored any of the treaties. And I honestly, truly believe that it goes back to two things. I never experienced microaggression and racism until I came to America. The minute you get up in JFK, which is essentially where we got off, we're
Hmm.
New Yorkers, right? The
Right.
first thing they ask you on the questionnaire is, what's your race? And I said, what do they mean, mommy? She's like, oh yeah, in America you have to check if you're black. And I said, wait, does it matter? Aren't we all Americans? She's like, you're young. When you get older, you understand. So I truly do believe that America is going through this now because I believe in karma and I believe in divine intervention.
Hmm.
I feel like America has to burn, and from the ashes will come greatness because America never truly atoned for its two original sins. It never atoned for the enslavement of Africans, and it never atoned for the pillage and the destruction of indigenous people's land. So
And
until
remember what they did to
America,
the Chinese as well.
I mean, basically, but I'm talking about like people that, yes, in addition, Chinese that never really atoned for it. And you can honestly, legitimately learn American history and still love your country. In Nigeria, I knew more about American history than Americans here. I knew
Amen. We
way
did.
more.
Yes. Yes.
It's crazy. And I went to public schools, but as a person who went to public school, I watched in New York City, I literally watched the decay and I said, wow, we are being lied to. And I don't know when the chickens are going to come home to roost. And in 2025, they are
It
coming
did.
home to roost. So
Thank
I'm
you,
just going to
Uju. I
enjoy
got it.
myself.
Uju, I got it. I got to go to some
All
couple
right.
other callers, but thank you,
All right.
sis. You have a
No problem.
wonderful
Thank
day.
you for taking my call. Bye. Bye.
Absolutely. Great call. Patrick, real quick, and then Brian.
Yeah, I wanted to. Hello?
Yes, you're here.
Hello? Okay, yeah, I wanted to thank Uju for calling in. That's actually one of the best calls I've ever heard, and probably the line that floored me more than anything else. And I mean, one point after another was fantastic. More homeless in the United States than in Nigeria. That's all you had to say.
There you go. Thank you, brother. All right, let's go to brother Brian. Come on in, Brian.
Yeah, good morning. CNN had a program on their news channel. The White House put out a bunch of posters, and CNN faded out the faces, blocked them out. I still don't understand why they would accept a criminal immigrant and not point out the true crimes that they committed. And there was a judge that actually was arrested for helping an illegal alien that had been convicted of illegally entering the country. They caught him. They deported him. He came back. Now, ICE, the FBI, Border Patrol, they were all there to arrest him peacefully so he doesn't hold up in a house somewhere, take other people's hostages. And the judge said, no, we're not going to do that. She let him out the back door. He ran away. They still caught him, and she's now arrested. And one other thing, Joe Biden said somebody needs to put a target on Donald Trump. 3 days later, an innocent man was shot at his rally. Now who's indirectly killing someone?
All right, I know that is what you heard on your right wing media, but that's not what occurred. And secondly, with regards to the judge did absolutely nothing wrong. And when it comes to what ICE is doing, there's a story in Oklahoma right now that everybody needs to see. Rachel Maddow put it on TV. I'll put that on TV sometimes. I gotta go, Brian. Thank you very much for your commentary. I don't even get my 5 minutes to talk about the subject. But it's at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. As you all know, as the callers, you will always come first. Unless I start with a particular subject that I must have, you guys have always have the last word. Let me go to the studio before we close this out.
Well, first of all, it was CBS, not CNN. Second of all, Donald Trump's picture wasn't there either as criminals. So there you go. Jack,
wow, that's great.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy this one, Howard. It's International Jazz Day.
Oh, smooth jazz. We love some. We're going to have some soul ballet coming up after your show here, Egberto.
All right.
This is going to make Harry smile. So he loves soul ballet. He loves the smooth jazz. In fact, the man calls me on the business line and talks about jazz, which is kind of cool. I like that. All righty, take it home. It's all yours.
All right, folks. Thank you, guys. Look, we had 4 entire subjects to cover today, but the calls kept coming. And this is a community radio station. You have priority. Now, there are times that I will just have to do the program that I set up with, but most of the times, you guys run the whole damn thing. Anyway, love you all. Thank you for calling. You can find the rest of the program at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can write me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
You're listening to the American